Hi, my name is Manu Ramado. Of course, this is the resuscitation coach. We have spoken about this video that I intended to do a couple of days ago, but I have informed you that we are going to do this video that speaks about a functional school-based system, because we have actually agreed, and you would know that many schools are dysfunctional, and they're dysfunctional simply because they don't have a system. But what do we mean when we say a school-based functional system? This school-based functional system has two issues, two priorities. The two priorities that it does is it must be able to support the vision and mission statement of the school. So it's important, because if we have a vision and mission statement, but we don't have a system to support it, then it means we are actually doomed to fail. But what then is a system? Because if we are talking about a system, we are talking about a collection of procedures. These procedures, what they do is they actually show how things should be done in a particular school. Because one school is different from the other. So if school A is doing certain things to achieve certain goals, school B would have their own way of doing certain things to achieve their certain goals. So these procedures, and I've always spoken a lot about what are generally known as the standard operating procedures, because they actually tell you exactly what should happen in the event of a particular incident happening or a particular event happening. So that is important. What then is a system? A system is a collection of those procedures put together. When they are put together, they become the mechanism through which the school achieves their vision and mission statement. That is very interesting, because these procedures, and these things that are actually to be implemented, they are so varied, they are so many, but each one of them must actually have an explanation in terms of why are we doing this, how are we going to do this, and for what purpose. We know the general purpose is to be able to create this system that will give us good results in the end. Good results, I'm talking in terms of what we have actually planned to achieve as our vision and the mission, the whole journey towards the achievement of that mission. Now, one of them that I would want to sort of speak about, which is very, very important, it's the admission system. Because you don't need a situation where you would just have a free flow, open kind of system. I know with many public schools, they would say that no, they don't have the authority to reject certain applications. And I understand that, I accept that, because I went in a public school myself. But the important thing is we need to know exactly what kind of caliber of a learner are we bringing into the school. These are things that we must know in advance. So if we are not able to choose which kind of learner comes into our school, we must have a system that actually converts every child who is outside of what we are envisaging at our school, so that in the end, within a month or two, this learner must be equivalent to the child that we envisage at our school. And I've had a lot of teachers complaining and saying, no, I have these children and they are coming from backgrounds where there are no values, they are not being taught and all that. And I just want to remind all the teachers, Barbara Corolos says, and it's a very interesting one. It's a quote that I love so much. If all children were coming from functional, organized schools, organized homes, our jobs would have been made easier. But if they come from disorganized, disadvantaged, and confusion-ridden families, it makes our jobs more important. So there's a distinction here. You either want to have your job as an important aspect of the community, or your job as an important area of the community's lives, or you just want it to be easy. So if you want it to be easy, well, that's when you will complain about the children coming in and coming from families that are not well organized, that don't have values, that have not taught them anything. So those children are not ready to receive the curriculum content, but you still have to deal with the behavior issues. And if you're talking about admission, and your admission processes are open simply because there is an instruction from the department that you can't refuse admission to any child, which is fair, because the children's right in the constitution does not actually allow that. What is important is that you must create a functional system that will induct these children into this kind of school they want to belong to. Because if you don't do that, you're going to have a free flow. The children will be coming from certain schools with the vision of that school, with the ideologies of that school. They come into the school, they begin to implement that on your behalf. So you need to be able to streamline and make sure that all the children that are coming into this school, we induct them into the behavioral patterns of the school. We induct them into the kind of learners that we want to see at the end of their schooling term. Number 2, it's the staff recruitment and retention. What do you do when teachers come into your school? What kind of teachers are you employing? What kind of administrators are you employing? What kind of groundsmen are you bringing into the school? Your recruitment is very important because it must be aligned with your vision and mission statement. If it is not aligned, then you have a lot of work to do. And this lot of work to do is, I'm just saying it's a lot of work to do, but it's something that you have to do anyway. What do we do? It means that because your recruitment, if you are not structuring it in a manner that the people that will come into your school would have to understand the kind of framework that you have created into the school, they will have to understand the system itself that governs the school. Because it can't be that a teacher who comes into the school comes to change the system and the functioning of the school, whereas they are just a teacher that came in a few weeks ago or a few months ago. So these are very, very important. So your recruitment must be important. Your recruitment must also be accompanied by a very strong induction process. Because regardless of whether this person has been a great mathematics teacher in another institution, it does not necessarily mean that when they come to your school, they will become a great mathematical teacher. It doesn't work like that. It's not automatic. But even if the content is good, even if they are well endowed with the content, but they need to understand exactly where this school is and where the school is going. Because once they understand that, once they are inducted into this, once they understand the systems that govern this school, the processes and the procedures that the school has actually set up, then they are ready to be able to deliver in line with your vision and mission statement. The other thing is, they need to also know, and this is particularly what you have to do, you have to put together a monitoring and evaluation system. That monitoring and evaluation system is part of this staff recruitment. Because they need to know that when they come here in this institution, every Friday, there are assessments that are actually undertaken to check and to evaluate how much of the content have the learners grasped. So if they don't know that, they come in and they find that, and you find that in their previous schools, they did not really have weekly assessments. So they can come Friday, they don't know what to do. And eventually, you would not have the kind of results that you were actually envisaging. So a monitoring and evaluation system within the school is very, very important. It's part of the entire system, which I call the school-based system. The other thing that you need to be actually working on, because I can't give you all the things, obviously, all the other things you would have to deal with at a particular time, or you can actually invite me to come and deal with those kind of issues as we run trainings pertaining to that. The last thing that I'm going to talk to you about, it's not the last thing, but it's one of the important things, let me rather say, data collection system. every single day is data collection day in every school. It starts in the morning. How many learners did not come to school? How many learners have come to school? How many learners are getting sick? How many learners are not getting sick? Those kind of things, you need to collect that kind of data. And the collection of that data is assisted by the teachers who are actually with those learners every single day. So the learners may be 40 in their register class, but when they go into period number 1, you find that there are 38 learners. Where are the 2? So data collection is important, because now in that class where there are 2 learners, where there are 2 learners missing, we need to be able to explain exactly why those learners were not in class. So if those 2 did not come, what happened in period 2? What happened in period 3? Did we have all those 40 learners going and attending class? And if there was a missing link somewhere, or the 2 maybe increased to 4 and so forth, that is what we need to begin to interrogate. And as we continue with that, we need to also look at remedial programs. What kind of remedial programs do we have in our school to be able to deal with this, or to compile and put together this system that we call the school-based functional system? And it is important for you to understand that when we talk about the remedial programs, it's not just remedial programs in terms of maybe the learners are not doing well with functions, as an example, in mathematics, or the learners are not doing well in the writing of an essay. It's bigger than that, because if we are talking about a remedial program, we need to also find out exactly which other learners are perhaps psychologically affected to a point where they can just decide, I attend this class and I don't attend that class. They need a remedial program, because we need to get them into the system for them to understand that they don't have to just present themselves for the classes which they favor or love, and the classes which they don't love, they don't have to attend. It's important. Programs like reading programs. There's a huge debate about learners not being able to read for meaning and understanding. These are important things that we need to begin to think about, because if we are going to say that we do not have some remedial programs like the one that I'm talking about, the reading program, what is it that we are aiming to achieve in all subjects? Because reading forms the basis, the foundation of each and every subject. Because when learners are writing mathematics, when they are writing business studies, when they are writing geography, they have to be able to read to understand. So these kind of programs are important in a school, because if we do not actually have these programs, we are actually running a ship that ultimately is going to collapse in the sea. And that is not what any principal would want to see. Some of these programs are catch-up programs, because if you think about it, when learners fail at the end of the examination, let's say the June examination, you will find that it's a culmination of content that they did not actually cover successfully. So the teacher may have taught, but the learners may not have understood. And as a result of that, because they did not understand, it means the learners are behind with such kind of content. So if we are saying we have remedial programs that help us, are we able to detect if learner X is unable to deal with data handling content at the time when data handling is actually being taught? Because if we know now that the learner is struggling with data handling, that means we can be able to create a remedial program on the spot for those particular learners that are struggling. So in a way, we don't wait until the examinations to realize that children are struggling with a particular content or with a particular concept. We deal with that content or concept at the time that the learners are showing that they do not understand. In that way, it means that our learners would progressively go to the next topic with an understanding of the previous topic. So if we have a system that will allow us to interrogate the issues of understanding of learners, then we are halfway towards winning and being able to create a school that would actually run without any challenges. We get this system right, it does not matter which learner comes into the school, because it is the system that has created an opportunity for all learners to understand certain topics. We get the system right, it is important for us, because no teacher would come in here and pollute the functioning of the school because perhaps they do have their own ways of thinking or implementing certain things. So it's important that you look at this kind of things, and you can take one aspect after the other. I only gave you about 3, but you can continue to look at all areas of school to say, are we really doing well? Can we safely say that our school is actually having a system which is functioning very well to give us the results, especially in line with our vision and mission statement? If you can answer that question right, I'm sure your grade 12 results are going to show. But I also need to warn you, because your grade 12 results may not necessarily become that which you envisage if this system is only implemented in grade 12. This system has to be implemented across the board from grade 8 up to grade 12, so that when the learners move progressively from grade 8 to grade 9 to grade 9 to grade 10, they carry over the content as a bulk that they should have understood. And in that way, it means that by the time they get to grade 12, that part which I was talking about, where teachers would not have holidays, where teachers and learners would be almost 24 hours at school, where learners would be going to schools even during the holidays when they are supposed to be on recess, where teachers would not forfeit their holidays because they have to go and struggle to make sure that at least those children get a 90% pass. That would come to a stop, and schools will begin to function properly without any other challenges. And believe me, if Model C schools are able to do it, why can't we in the black schools be able to do it? It doesn't, to me, it does not make sense. But it calls for us to have this kind of discussion and consistently have this discussion in order for us to be able to get to the bottom line of it all. Thank you very much for listening to this video, and I'm sure we have just touched or scratched the ground. The rest of it, you can be able to get hold of us. We can do this thing with you. We can come and train and have a conversation with the entire staff, so that this system can be built up and be engraved into the functioning of the school. And believe me, your school will change from point A to point B. It will move from one level to the other. And in order for us to get hold of us, obviously you need to dial 068-392-1730 or 078-797-5838. Otherwise, send us an email at mr@manoramadwa.com or www.manoramadwa.com. That's how you can actually get hold of us. Thank you. Enjoy the rest. Bye-bye.